Welcome back, guys, to PSTV5 Online. I'm Direct Rene Molina, and wishing you all a very, very pleasant day and good afternoon and good evening. Tonight, we have a special guest, and our guest is coming all the way from Malaysia, and she's also my kababayan from Zamboanga. And so, at the beginning, we will speak in our language, our dialect, Chabacano. We have Dr. Feliz Noel Rodriguez, more commonly known as Noelle. Noelle, how are you?
Bueno, gracias.
Bueno,
Buenas
sí.
noches, Ali.
¿Dónde tú na Sí. ¿Dónde tú na Malaysia?
Kuala Lumpur.
Oh, okay.
Sí.
Kuala Lumpur. And siyempre, precura kami conversa Chabacano kami di Feliz. I suppose si Feliz ya tarde kami no hay queda na Zamboanga. So, de dónde tú na Zamboanga, Feliz? Noel.
Sí. Yo, di amon casa enfrente mismo del Zamboanga General Hospital. Kay di mi lolo, my grandfather, el director mismo del Zamboanga. Sí. So, Dr. Pedro Rodriguez. So, él es el segundo director del General Hospital. So, andale estudiar na University of the Philippines. Kabar 1917 le gradua. Kabar yan volunteer le para na Mindanao. So, nakamigin le, kabar na holo. Pero nasa Zamboanga gadle from I think 1919. Por eso alya anda casa kabar ya empesa disiyo pamilya. So dimitata pati disiyo mga hermano, hermana alya ya krisi kabar kamen Zamboanga ya.
Zamboanga, sí. Cerca ustedes na casa de cada Dr. Lavinia? Cerca ustedes allá?
Dr. Lavinia, na Veterans Avenue.
Sí.
So, kami, enfrente mismo, cerca na, pwede lang kami na, across lang el General Hospital.
Sí.
El Zamboanga General Hospital, sí.
So,
cerca na South City Colleges.
Southern, okay, sí. Pwede man imagine si donde. So, lehitimo kayo to de Zamboanga. Dito yung mama, dito yung papa, de Zamboanga tamen.
Hindi. Dimi tata si. Pero dimi nana de Cagayan Valley.
Okay.
Pero andale Crisina Manila.
Sa Manila, sí. Doktor tamen dito yung mother and father? Doktor tamen sila?
Hindi.
May kanya sige kung dito yung lolo, kaya doktor?
El eldest. Si Ireneo Rodriguez. So the eldest. Yakeda doktor. Kabar na Zamboanga pero DCU Hospital alya na Brent Hospital. Circa na Kawakawa Boulevard.
Sí.
Ara Justice RT Lim Boulevard.
Sí. So, to estudia to elementary na Pilar College 2 or high school lang?
Grade school, high school.
Pilar Girl galito.
Pilar Girl gayod.
Pilar Girl, oo. Antes, puro mujer lang del Pilar College, no?
Na high school, tiempo di mio, tiene hombre na grade school. Pero
okay.
School, todo mujer lang.
Sí.
Pero ahora, pati high school, tiene también hombre.
Tiene hombre, ansi. Kay antes, siyempre, ben mayor mga kun Noel, siguro, mga 20 years yung mayor kun si Noel. Por eso, antes, may pa-hombre na Pilar College. But, So, alya tu estudia high school kabar, ya estudia tu na Manila ya, dito college.
College. See, um, after graduation, después de graduar na high school, na Pilar College, yaan da yo estudia na Ateneo de Manila University, kay tiyan naman scholarship.
Hmm.
So, pwede man afford kay tiyan scholarship.
Sa scholarship. So, taman dorm to eh. Ya kaya to na kwan, na Ateneo, na campus.
Hindi, kay manada man kami na pamilya,
Ah,
9
see.
kami. Kabar tiyan na yung mga hermana mas mayor kumigo, pati tres hermana más mayor conmigo, kabar tiene también dos hombres más mayor conmigo, kabar tres más menor. So, el habla de mi tata, mas bueno, si tiene lang kami apartment, kabar
Mm.
hunto-hunto yan kami alya, kay ta-insinya yaman kaldi imiyo mga hermana, kabar el uno, ta estudia, kabar tiene yung mga hermano. So, mas bueno si manhunto lang kami. So,
Mm.
ano kami yan, pwede kami buska apartment, cerca na Ateneo, na Katipunan, para pwede lang
Mm.
yung kami na.
Ansina, dali.
Para
Kay,
si,
cuando ta estudia tu ya na Ateneo, ta enseña yo na Merinol. Aleo enseña na Miriam, Merinol, sí. Por eso,
ah,
cerca lang.
si,
C'è yung co-teacher si Menchi Rodriguez, pero hindi man lang di Zamboanga, so siguro hindi to related to nila, ano. So, porque man to yan major history?
kay, masking kwando bata pa yun,
Hmm.
manadag mga pregunta ba? Kay,
Hmm.
sir, di amon kasa, sir ka lang na Fort Pilar, hindi ba?
Amo,
Kay
si.
Avenue. Kapar pirmi ta pregunta, porque tiene Fort Pilar? Cosa man se? And why man kienta ta abla kumigo cosa man se pakimodo. So, manadagad yung mga pregunta, pero no ay man mga answer.
May answer.
Yeah. Kapar tamen, imprented di amon kasa na Zamboanga General Hospital, na 1970, sabi ustedes, kay Chenegera, alya na Basilan, hindi ba? Kabar Chenegel,
Si.
mga helicopter, tabuan da bula,
Mhm.
na para libay el mga kian man irido o muerto o saman.
Amo kayo.
Todo kami mga bata, syempre, daw, tiene curioso, so, kere kami sabi ko sa bata pa sa, kabar, anday yung mirama na, daman mga gente, irido, mga, basta, daw,
Si.
por eso, tali tamen, mucho tamen pregunta, por qué man ansina, por qué man ya chenegera, por qué man,
Mhm.
asa man tapasa, nanoy man kenta abla ka namon, kay mga bata man, so,
Mhm.
ali, pesagad, por kaso ng mga pregunta, igual conece el Fort Pilar, el mga irido kay mga helicopters, estaba na hulo, estaba na basilan, manada
Amo.
mga sundalo, porque man manada sundalo.
Oo.
So, por caso de ese, cuando ya anda yo na college na Ateneo, kere era yo sabi, pero di mo una kurso, hindi man history, kay no hay history course,
Na Ateneo.
no hay AB history, tiempo di mio. Por eso,
Mm.
ito tayo, interdisciplinary studies.
Oo, okay. Oo. Mm. Noel, man kuan lang to dito yung camera kay to kumuta tasumi atu.
Ansina ba? Ansina?
Así na, ese, más bueno.
Oh,
Poco pa, Noel, poco pa. Pwede pa to,
poco pa.
poco? Un poquito? Kay baka perdia tamin kita. Ese, perfect. Perfect. Na, kundo ta estudia to na Ateneo, kosa to kaya sa kasaka, AB,
Interdisciplinary studies. kay Noelle
Interdisciplinary.
history course. So, yaabla kumigo, pwede yo sa ka interdisciplinary course kay tiene mga kurso na pwede yo sa ka anthropology, kabar sociology o kosaman kabar tamen el kurso de historia. Por eso manada din yung mga electives, history, pero di mio class el mga kurso de history tasa kayo alya na Loyola House of Studies na hindi na Ateneo de Manila kay
Sí.
so di min teacher ya keda akel si Father John Schumacher yan dal escribir libro tung a causa del propaganda movement, revolutionary clergy, so church history. So yan dayo sa kadisi yung mga kurso.
Sabi ko kaya na-atras del Ateneo kay Loyola House of Studies, no? Kay alya chene tamin yung mga classmate, mga padre, ta estudya sila na UP, pero alya sila ta takeda na Loyola House of Studies. So, kundi ba to dito yung AB Interdisciplinary Studies? Cosa to? Yung insinya to, Onoy pa?
Si andayo insinya for a short period na Zamboanga, kabar Yabirayo, Manila, ya trabajo na Sendra, Center for Development of Human Resources in Rural Asia. Pero korto lang, kabar kerga Diyos ko dyan. Por eso, yan dayo sa Academy Masters, pati dimi PhD na UP. Pero cuando ta studya yo, ta insinya tamen yo na Ateneo de Manila History.
No ito estudya na UP, na Ateneo lang ito estudya. Ya insinya.
Ya insinya yon na Ateneo lang. Kabar, pero para studya, alya yon na UP.
Na UP. Kondo ya graduate na Pilar College kasi grade school, high school, Pilar College too. Kundi ya move to na Ateneo.
Si.
Kwan ba? Como were you, akil shock ng konti o kosa? Ya tene ba to? O kwan? Kay nuevo lugar?
Grabe, di may culture shock.
Pero kay Talyan mucho dito dyan ito mga hermano, hermana, Talyan na Manila. So, more or less, kung ya pwede mankuan, ano? Hindi to kaya homesick, kansina.
After registration, the special registration, keda yo impermo. Por eso, no ayos alya na mga orientation. So, first day of class, diretso yon na klase. So, mga classmate di mio todo, like, sabi sila, man konose ya sila. Iyo, no konose yo kay impermo man yo. So, no ayon na mga orientation, ansina. So, first day of class, tayayo, kapar, syempre, kita, Chabacano, hindi kita, para kumigo el Tagalog o el Filipino, foreign language se.
Kay Chabacano kita, no?
Na todo man sila ta-conversa na English, na Tagalog. Sige lang, kabar siguro yaandagad yo man culture siya kay alya na Filipino class. Ya dale ka namon exam. Alya yon na un klase, pero ya dale ka namon exam para icha kami todo klase. Kabar no ay kadyo tamira kadyo el exam paper del in Filipino. No ay kadyo intende. Ay yan dayo muraga yo. Yan dayo icha kumigo na remedial Filipino. So para kumigo siya na Pilar College daw star 2, no? Daw konose to, I mean kindergarten talya to kabar at that time syempre presidente yo del klase. So at home kabar anda to na otro lugar na no hay gadto quien sabe gente alya dos mga Zamboangueño talya tamen, pero syempre dito yung mga classmates. So yan alya gadyo yan culture shock kabar yan homesick gadyo kabar yan dayon na dimi hermana kay ta
Mhm.
insinya man le Ateneo Grade School si Mariel.
Oo. Mhm.
Yan yura gadyo volve
Kaya to bolbe lang to, Ansina.
volve ayo. Pero eso, pero háblale, dale un poco día pa.
Mm,
Bueno, ya lang tiene hermana Ancina, no? Bien
si
pasensyosa conmigo. Pasensyosa man di mi mga hermana, kay yo man el youngest. So,
Ansina. 9 ustedes, ¿no? 9.
sí, pero na mga mujer, yo el youngest girl.
Okey, oo. Tiene pa
However,
mas youngest na hombre,
hombre, tres younger, mas menor conmigo. Kabar, ya anda muri di mi nana for cancer cuando first
Oh,
year school yo. So, por eso, el Dimitres mga hermana daw, yase conmigo daw, sila ya queda nana di mio.
to you.
Sí,
Oh,
sí,
okay. Mhm. No,
sí.
kabar, so, estudiato na UP, pero insegnato na Ateneo. So, cosa dito yung kuan, aquel focus na dito yung doctorate? Cosa tu yaman focus on?
Okay. Ara, pwede Tagalog or English
Si,
or
pwede.
Chavacano?
Si. Hindi. Man-endya kita LL Chabaka, no? Para we'll go into aquel dito yung studies yan, no? So, talito ara na Malaysia, kay you got caught because of the COVID pandemic. Querer to volve, pero no puede. Porque tu tali.
Actually, my husband is Malaysian. So,
Okay. Mm.
so we used to live in, he used to work with the United Nations.
Mm.
So so we used to live in New York, and then after New York, we lived in Rome. But all through those years, I continued to do research and to work. I mean, with my writing and research.
Mhm.
So you asked what my research topic was for my PhD. It was on warfare, 16th, 17th century forms of not really warfare, but of encounters and raiding. So the
Mm.
English term is raid or war, but actually the Tagalog or even the Visayan word or even in other Philippine languages, it would be mangayaw. So it's a form of raiding.
Mm.
So my dissertation was on that because of my earlier experience in Zamboanga on violence. I mentioned earlier, I experienced war. I experienced seeing the maimed, bodied, brought in by the helicopters coming in from Basilan or Sulu, and I had classmates who had to flee Holo and come to
Mm.
Zamboanga.
Mhm.
So my questions brought in during my younger days with regards to violence, with regards to wars, to fighting, came out with my dissertation topic. But I
Oh.
wanted to focus on the encounter of the 17th century with the incoming of colonialism. So
Mhm.
Spanish colonialism. So that the encounter.
Yeah. Because I remember as you were recalling about the helicopters, because you live right across the Zamboanga General Hospital. So when the helicopters come in, I was able to see it also. When the choppers, when the doors are closed, they say, oh, they are all dead. When it's open, they say, oh, they are still wounded, because and it was, I suppose you were at a young age, and well, 1974, when they burned Holo, that's when everything, like everyone moved to Zamboanga, and I guess those were the years that and it had an imprint in you, no? And interesting, I like your topic. It's raiding, but more of, it's not colonization alone, but they get a lot of like culture and the exchange, And 17th century is when we had like the massive coming in of the Spaniards. Are you involved with the National Quincentennial Commission, Noel?
Oh, I'm not part of it, but we just held a conference at the Ateneo de Manila University,
Mm-hmm.
where I am a co-convener of the conference and part of the organizing committee. And this was in also with the collaboration of the National Quincentennial Committee, as well as the Centro de Humanidades of Lisboa. So it's a three party team, and
Mm-hmm.
there we talked about encounters. So 500 years of Asian Iberian encounters. So in that way, I'm part of the National Quincentennial Committee,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but not as the organization, but in partnering with them with regards to this commemoration, not
Mm-hmm.
celebration, but commemoration. Yes.
Commemoration, yes. Because I've
Yes.
been trying to ask them also, because every port or point of reference of the Pigafetta, the journey, they have a like they unveil a marker. So I know that in Zamboanga in October 1521 in Kawit, so that's where my ancestors come from. So I've been asking them, are you doing anything about Zamboanga? And they said, yes, 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 but nothing specific. Do you know of any, Noel, that they will do for when it comes to Zamboanga already?
I know there are two markers that will be unveiled
Mm-hmm.
because, as when they arrived in the peninsula, not Kipit, which is farther northwest,
Mm-hmm.
but actually on the tip, it in Pigafetta's journal, or the publication, and with a map included,
Mm-hmm.
he mentions the word Subanim
Mm-hmm.
as the location, and that there was an exchange between the people there and Pigafetta and the Elcano group and
Mm-hmm.
the remains of the
There, yeah.
Magellan
Mm-hmm.
expedition. So actually, the first peoples or who occupied the peninsula are the Subanon people.
Mm-hmm.
They're called Subanon, and which really actually means people who live along the river or upriver. So it has the etymology of the word has to do with the word suba, so Subanon, so from the river or along the river. So there's that encounter there. So I think they're going to unveil.
Yes.
I don't
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're going to do a big thing about it, but I am giving a talk, but
Yeah.
more for
Okay.
the Philippine Map Society
Uh-huh.
on the cartography of Zamboanga through the ages.
Oh,
So
okay, that's good. That's good. At least, that's what I was asking them. Something, I think they will, but yeah, but it's good that you mentioned that, Noel, When is this going to happen?
I haven't the talk is with the Philippine Map Society,
Uh-huh.
FIMCO. So the idea was just broached, but of course we haven't put it down in paper as to
Ah, okay. Mm-hmm.
specifically when. Yes. The Philippine Quincentennial Commission has a bigger like international conference that they're planning, where they have
Mm-hmm.
people from institutions with different topics. So that is a different thing and not specifically on Zamboanga.
Oh, okay. Because a couple of times I've interviewed Dr. Danny Herona, who is your good friend also, and
Yes.
he's very knowledgeable about this thing, and he has done what you call that primary research, yung source talaga, hindi yung based on books, based on ganon ganon. And it's really amazing, like what you're doing also, Noel. You pour through documents, interviews, and all of that. But the pandemic, I think, hasn't stopped you from doing these things. It's because I've seen the amount of work and research that you have done, not only the dissertation, but after, and it's still continuing, no? Can you tell us a little bit about that, Noel?
Well, varied topics, I think. First, with regards to three things. First, with regards to my dissertation, which was on the encounter and forms of aggression or warfare or
Mm-hmm.
raiding. With that, what I did was to look into dictionaries of that time and
Mm-hmm.
sermons. So, to look at an event from the perspective of the other side, because of course all we have in documents are the
Mm-hmm.
chronicles. The chronicles are written by Spaniards,
Mm-hmm.
and of course the winner writes the story, and it is
Mm-hmm.
all from perspective of the winner. And so you see his story, and even in paintings before, when you look at the Magellan at the Pigafetta encounter with Lapu-Lapu, right? I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
see it from the eyes of Pigafetta, who looks at Magellan, and in his text he says, when finally when finally Magellan is killed, he says they killed our mirror, our light, and our true guide, right?
Mm-hmm.
Slain Magellan, and the story is told from that point of view. So my dissertation on encounters like that is to try to retell the story from the perspective of the other side. Now, how
Mm-hmm.
do you do that? Of course, you have the chronicles, but to really go through the chronicles, what I did was to look at dictionaries, which is like Spanish Tagalog, Tagalog Spanish dictionaries, or Spanish Visayan dictionaries, or
Mm-hmm.
um, other Kapampangan dictionaries. But I didn't look at the Kapampangan. I just look at, for example, Mentrida, and also De Iligaynon, Mateo Sanchez, Blancas de San Jose, uh, or the sermons. Because when the missionary came, they learned the language of the people. So
Mm-hmm.
to learn the language, they started writing dictionaries, and they started talking, and they started saying the sermons. So how do they explain some foreign concept like God or Jesus Christ or the Blessed Virgin Mary or the sacraments, which are Christian concepts, into the local culture in the language of the people?
All
So
right.
there I begin to try to, how do you call it, to sift through the words in the original language, to look at the articulation of certain ways and forms of. So you have the material concept,
Mm-hmm.
which are there, and you have the words as well of movement, but at the same time of concepts.
Mm-hmm.
So like an example would be um, uh, Jesus Christ, right? So
Yes.
how do you explain that He is God, and that He is and how God is good? And then
Mm-hmm.
if you look at the sermons, they will say, "Oh, you know, Jesus Christ is like a datu. So datu is like a
Mm-hmm.
head, or somebody who
Mm-hmm.
rules a village." But he uses a local term in the explanation of something that is foreign. So the missionary now goes into the culture of the people to explain. And so what I do is to sift through the sermons, the dictionaries, the
Mm-hmm.
language, and try to look at the original language, and try to look, and then there I retell the story. I retell
Mm-hmm.
the story. So
Mm-hmm.
based on that, so for example, the terms also for what do you call the weapons, right? How do you use the weapons, etc. So that is with regard to my dissertation. So that
Oh,
is
okay.
how I retell the story. But I have other interests, and I do other things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Noel, during your college years, was it still mandatory to have 12 units of Spanish, or or it was taken away already? Was it still? Because in my time we had to have 12 units of Spanish, and of course it
Oh,
was easy for us because we were Chabacano, no? But it will help you with your research. Did you still have 12 units of Spanish?
yes. We're of the
Mm.
same generation then.
No, you're very young. You're younger than when you were in
No,
your school. When you were in your high school, Pilar College then was what's this? Beginning to have no, the grade school was beginning to have their voice, right? Because during my time, it was an all girls, exclusive girls school at Pilar College.
but actually, in the grade school, there was a time when they had boys, even in the 1950s, because
Ah,
I've seen photographs of Pilar College, and my father and my uncle who just
mhm.
passed away. I've seen photographs of him in Pilar College, in the class in Pilar College.
Oh,
That's right after the war.
oh,
So,
okay.
so there were
Because
boys.
oh, okay, because for the benefit of our listeners and viewers, Pilar College is run by the RVM sisters, right? The same as Saint Paul, I think, because they look
No,
the same, eh, yung mga madre, no?
no. Actually, Pilar College is run by the Religious of the Virgin Mary, which is
RVM, yeah.
Religious of the Virgin Mary, which was institute started by the Mother Ignacia del Espiritu Santo,
Ah,
who
mm,
who is actually not a Spaniard woman,
mm,
but
mm.
one of the first congregations started by a local. She's a
Oh,
mestizo Chinese. So
mhm,
actually, she was not allowed to join because she was
mhm,
not Spanish. And therefore, she got a Jesuit priest to be her confessor. And later on, people followed her until it grew and it was recognized later as an
mm,
institute. So, in that sense, it's very important. That's
mm.
17th, early as 17th century.
Yeah, that's very rich materials for research because then the times what made her decide to go into these things and oh wow. Because I really love history. History was my favorite subject in what's this in grade school and in high school, even up to now. And I that's why when I found out that your masters, your PhDs in history, I would like to talk to Dr. Rodriguez because so Rodriguez is not your married name because or it's the same because you're married to a Malaysian.
No, Malaysians don't get their husband's family name.
Ah,
They
okay. Hmm.
and they don't have their mother's family name as middle names. So
Oh, so
so and I'm known. I mean, my publications are all with my name,
mm,
so I prefer not to change my name.
yeah. Tell me a bit about this. You curated some exhibits. What is this that you did, Noel?
Many different exhibits.
Mhm,
Because history sometimes you have to bring it down to
mm,
people. I mean, for me being in history was actually a way of teaching, of sharing what I know, what I've seen. And I felt that writing academic materials and publishing it, and then it gets stored on the shelves, right? I mean,
that's
who gets
correct. Mm,
a journal? So especially my first one was actually one of my first ones were on Zamboanga, because I
mhm,
wanted to show people in Zamboanga, look, this is our story. This is how we came to be. And so, yeah, I applied for a grant to put up an exhibit on Zamboanga in the 19th century with some illustrations and showing parts of how we came to be, how the city emerged actually. And so that was my first. And then I had other exhibits which were I felt that that was the way my creative spirit came out, and I was helped with by people, by friends. And so I did one on La Solidaridad, which is
Mm-hmm.
the newspaper revolutionary press that where the writings of the nationalists, Jose Rizal, of course, but importantly Marcelo H. del Pilar, Lopez Haina, and Mariano Ponce, like they put up this newspaper which I felt was important in the 19th century for the articulation of, you know, fighting for rights, fighting
Mm-hmm.
for justice, for equality. And so in their articulation, slowly, I think the ideas of belonging to a nation separate from Spain slowly started to emerge. So
Mm-hmm.
me, a former student of mine, JV Capino, came up with this exhibit on the La Solidaridad, and it was funded by Fundación Santiago. Yes. And also with other exhibits like postcards, right?
Ah,
Those
okay. Mm-hmm.
exciting things. I mean, postcards, different types of postcards, the letters behind the postcards, and the
Mm.
stamps, and all. So we put that up at the Ayala Museum. That was fun.
Mm. So this was when you were still with Ateneo. You were doing this one.
Ye- Yes,
Be-
yes, yes.
because mm. Go
But
ahead, Noel.
extracurricular activities.
Ah. Because you also, after being a professor, you also became the department chair of the history department of the Ateneo de Manila University.
Yes, yes.
Yes,
That's a very bureaucratic position.
bureaucratic.
Actually,
Because that was around 2000, 2002 ba yun? Yeah, so I was really smack into Miriam College then. So I was just across that small bridge that bridges Miriam and Ateneo, the Friendship Bridge. Yeah, yeah, and I have had close friends, Jesuit priests. In fact, the one who officiated my wedding was Father Joey Cruz of the College of Political Science Department. Mas si Father Joey, yeah, because when he was still a seminarista, he used to come to our house. Father Joey Cruz, Father Joey Francisco, Father Robert Reyes, those guys, what's this, Father Chito Tagle. So they were all family. So that's why we were very close with the Jesuits. Yeah, yeah, and so when I got married, I said, "Oh, I wanted any one of the four, but it was only Joey Cruz who was available." So he was
still
department chair of political science, I think, during your
a
time.
history in political science. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So
At the time,
yeah, those were exciting times in Ateneo, because I think during Ateneo in the term the millennium decided to go into other programs, like they went into journalism with the Konrad Adenauer something institute. And yeah, yeah. Uh, Noel, your daughter is here in Auckland. She is studying also for her PhD. Is it also
yes.
history? Is it history?
No, she's doing work on masculinities, sociology.
Sociology. Yeah.
Yes, but
Because
on masculinities. Yes, yes. So she's
mm,
in Auckland. She's also in New Zealand.
yeah, and before the lockdown, you were supposed to come over for a visit. Parang ganun ba 'yon?
Well, she just started last year, so I supposed to take her
Mhm.
there because I've never been to New Zealand, and I I was thinking this was my chance. So
Yeah.
I had my ticket, and I was just waiting for my visa.
Mm-hmm.
But I applied. Actually, I was planning to. We were planning to leave like February,
Mm-hmm.
and or late February, and I already applied for my visa first week of January.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to go to Singapore. Then from Singapore, they apparently the visa center is in Beijing.
Ah, yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
So they were all saying, "Oh, you'll get it. We'll just email you." So I was confident that they would just email it to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think 2 3 weeks before, I already called them up and they said, "Oh, just wait." And then Chinese New Year happened, and they said,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh," and then they went on lockdown,
Oh,
and
yes.
they were not to go to office. So they said to wait. So in the end, like I think just a few days before the flight, I said I don't think I'll be able to get it because at that
Mm-hmm.
time the it hadn't spread really yet, except in
No.
China.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but the center was in China, the processing center for the visa.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't.
And because
So I
I,
yeah.
yeah, I reached out to your daughter. I said, "Do you know how to speak Chapacano?" Sabi niya, "No, I don't." Sabi niya, ganun. Kasi she was raised overseas, di ba? I mean, in New York or hindi sa Philippines, eh, di ba?
No, Philippines.
Ah, sa
Except
Philippines.
for yeah, there were 2 or 3 years where she took her international baccalaureate in the international school in the UN school, UN
Mm-hmm.
school in New York. So there she
Mm-hmm.
took her international baccalaureate. But from there, she went back to Ateneo de Manila University, and then she took up her master's also from UP, gender
UP.
studies. Yeah.
Oh, gender. Oh, okay. So she was into gender, and so she's now here in Auckland at the University of Auckland, right?
Yes.
Mm,
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So
University of.
I'll reach out to her again because that's interesting. What's this? Masculinity studies, and of course, when the lockdown, when the borders will be open, what KL is what just 10 hours away, and we will see each other here. We will definitely see each other here.
I hope so. We're dying. But now on lockdown again. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-mm. Are you on lockdown again, KL?
We've been on lockdown for some time now.
Oh, okay. Because
So
my younger brother, he's married to a Chinese Malaysian. So he's the I think one of the brothers of my sister-in-law is a prominent doctor in KL, a heart surgeon or something like yeah. Then and my brother, because they're based in the States, they used to every year they come during Chinese New Year or something like that. Yeah, I've been to KL for a conference in Penang. I love KL. I love the food. You know, what's that? The street food. You know, and I guess very progressive now. KL is very progressive. I mean, my sister-in-law did not relinquish her Malaysian passport or citizenship. She did not opt to become a New Zealander. So
mhm.
parang nationalistic sila and all of that. So Noel, so what's keeping you what's this coming right up in terms of research? Any like you're saying about the what's it the Philippine Map Association? What else? What else is in the pipeline?
Okay, and I just finished giving 2 lectures on the Visayan forms of warfare and Visayan weapons, and I'm going to give another one end of August. So that's on my weapons and warfare 16,
Mm,
17.
mhm,
But this coming Friday,
mhm,
uh, Philippine time 3 p.m. I'm giving a talk for the Panublion Museum, which is in Rojas City in Panay, in the Visayas in the Philippines, on this 19th century Filipino photographer called Felix Lauriano. And
Mm-hmm.
I translated his book. It's a 19th century book published in 1895 in Spanish in Barcelona, entitled Recuerdos de Filipinas. So most of the photographs are on Panay. But more than the photographs, I found interesting and I really wanted to publish it and to translate and publish it because of the accompanying essays that came with the photographs, because it's like a black and white photograph, and yet if you
Mm-hmm.
read the essay of, for example, the marketplace or the
Mm-hmm.
what they call the or the fairs, then it comes alive, and then
Mm-hmm.
the words of the people, he says, you can hear the woman saying in English, it would be like, come buy puto kuchinta, and then he would give the local language. For example, he said, bili na kayo ng puto kuchinta, no? So you hear the voice, and
Mm-hmm.
then he describes, for example, what they're wearing. And then when he describes what they're wearing, because Panay is known for, it used to be a weaving, there was a weaving industry there. So he would describe, the colors of their textiles. And so
Mm-hmm.
things like that, or what they would eat, or when they go to the market, to other places, like there's a quote unquote calenderia, which is like a small store by the roadside, and the food that was served there. So for me, it was very telling, not of the rich and famous, or of the learned and those who had a voice, but here is a person who offered us a view, and also gave voice, and what William Henry Scott would say, he opened up more of the cracks in the parchment curtain to make us
That's
look
correct.
more at what was there and who was there. So,
Yeah.
um, I'm going to speak on the essays of Felix Lauriano in this book published in 1895.
So that's
So
this
that's my
coming Friday,
this
3 o'clock
right.
Philippine
Yes,
time. Okay. Oh,
yes, it's
that's
free.
7 p.m. here. That's
Yes,
good because as you were explaining, Noel, no. So these are in written form, but the way it was written, the language that was used, so it comes alive, diba? So the vibrancy of the color of the fruits, probably even the smell of the streets will come out from. Wow, napaka. I mean that's fantastic, diba? It makes history alive. It's not boring and it's not. Oh, I am so envious of your students when when you were teaching them. Must be really exciting to be in your classroom. Noel, a pandemic it didn't stop you as a researcher. I think it even opened up more doors. Am I correct with the
well,
pandemic?
you see, I think my past has been preparing me for this pandemic. Because as you know, we move right from place to place, and I brought my materials with me. So my master's thesis was on Zamboanga, and what I did was to look at the Jesuit letters.
Mm,
They were based in Zamboanga, and I read through their Jesuit letters, and they were already translated by Father Arcilia, and they were published. But during my time, they were not. But um, so it was done, and then I forgot all about it. And however, I had also photocopied, at that time we were allowed, all the materials on Zamboanga I could get hold on from the Philippine National Archives. So all the
mm.
documents. So I have like it's like a table now, because I stuck it one on top of the other. But when we move from place to place, all these
So
documents come with me. The table would move with me. So it went to Singapore, it went to New York, to Rome, and then Kuala Lumpur. So here in Kuala Lumpur, I in the first year before the pandemic, like I started, I was just home, so I at that time, like, I didn't really go out of the house. I
Mhm.
started taking up paleography classes. Paleography
Mm,
is the study of the writings, so the way
mm,
people wrote. So I took some classes online. So I was taking up online classes even when I was in Rome. I was taking up online classes. So online is not new to me. I've been taking up, yeah, and even architecture classes and all that because of Rome, right? You wanted to know
yeah.
the history of the place. So I have a lot of these online classes. So during the pandemic, it forced me also to actually just sit down and go through to transcribe the documents and to start with the help of other friends translating it as well.
Mhm.
So that
Mm,
has been like that has aside from all these talks, because
mm.
suddenly I don't have to fly, right, to
That's
get to a
correct.
place to talk.
Yeah.
I can just speak. So it has helped a lot in some ways that
Okay.
yeah, it has kept me here, but at the same time, thankfully, I have my materials, which are the documents from the Philippine
Mhm.
National Archives, and thankfully I have books also, and which I'm able to purchase through online secondhand
Mm,
books on Philippines and Zamboanga.
mhm.
And I think this one, researchers should know that now you can access documents online, and even like the dictionaries, which I had to, enlarge because I couldn't see and all. Now it's all scanned. So the
Mhm.
Mateo Sanchez dictionary, the Mentrida dictionary, I can go online and just it's there, it's available. And the Spanish, the Pares, you can search it. You can search documents for documents there as well. Same with the
Mhm.
Philippine National Archives. So the digital tool, in some ways, has opened up new avenues for research.
Mm,
And
mhm.
so, in more ways than one, for me, it has helped a lot.
Earlier in this korero with Noel, is we started talking in our Chabacano language. We are proud. It is our heritage. We are from Zamboanga. And as Noel was explaining now, because I was fascinated that towards the end of the Spanish regime or occupation, Zamboanga declared itself as a republic for a couple of was it a couple of months, was it? So I'm looking forward to some research materials coming out of that, Noel, the Zamboanga Republic. It would have been good if it carried on so that we have like a Sambuangueño passport, And Hidilyn Diaz will be for Sambuanga, not for the Philippines. Oh, talking of Hidilyn, you shared to me that she was in Malaysia. I understand. She
Yes,
was training in Malaysia.
yes. In Actually, during the start of the pandemic, or within that year, I think she was still in Kuala Lumpur before she moved to Malacca.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a newspaper article, and I was so proud of her. And I even made a cut
Mm-hmm.
up of it even before all this, before her winning the gold.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, it's like, wow, this woman who is already like hard up and trying to exercise and having her own problems is here in Kuala Lumpur, and she's sending money to Zamboanga for those families who don't have anything. She's helping
Mm-hmm.
people back home. Yeah.
So,
So for me, that was something. And then from here, I think they found a place in Malacca, a small kampong, a small like a village,
mhm.
and makeshift. That's where they practiced. That's where they she trained
Yeah.
with her coach and everyone else. So
The-
and in Zamboanga, I met her actually. I have a photograph with her.
Oh, okay.
Uh, during Fiesta Pilar in
Mm-hmm.
Zamboanga, as you know, October 12 is a big feast where
Mm-hmm.
everybody comes together, and there's, you know, almost a month long
Oh, yes.
celebration
Oh.
of
Mm-hmm.
Fiesta Pilar. So she actually gave like an inspirational speech, and I was there. I was on stage more as a judge for the one of the parades, one of the big parades, and she was there, and we were just talking. And I think by then she had already won her silver. This was after Rio, I think.
Rio.
So
Uh-huh.
very casually and all,
Mm-hmm.
but I saw also her in front of the audience, and she was looking up also to, of course, the support of the mayor then,
Mm-hmm.
and the mayor now, Mayor Beng Climaco, who was supportive of her.
Mm-hmm.
So you could see, yeah, she was there,
Yeah.
part of it.
There's something about weightlifting and Zamboanga because when I was teaching at the Colegio San Agustin in Makati, and I had a co-teacher, she was married to a Zamboangueño, a Sebastian, Jimmy Sebastian, who was a weightlifter. Talagang, and he was based in Zamboanga. They were trained, especially the Zamboanga AE colleges, which is down the Universidad de Zamboanga. They have a strong, like a weightlifting team, and I think Hidalin also studied in the same school. I think in the high school department. So there must be something about the weightlifting, maybe the water, maybe the food in Zamboanga. Well, we're very much happy and honored that Hidalin, and it's a certain trend because Jimmy, so from weightlifting, he went to Olympics and then he went into the Air Force. The same with Hindelin. So from there, she went into the Air Force. She's a sergeant in the Air Force. So parang ano maybe it's because of the air base in Zamboanga. So many other, and Noel, I'm so happy that you're pushing our Zamboanga and also our heritage on those, like, so many factors, like the sword you were saying, what was it made of, like how heavy was it, parang ganon. And was it inlaid with pearls and all of those things. And I'm looking forward to your talks and the researches, and of course when you come over to Auckland, oh nako, kwentuhan to the max tayo niyan. And I was, because when I found out about you, and I said, oh, I want to talk to Noel because about history and all of those things and the research that you're doing, because I have a secret project. I will tell it to you off air, but it's something to do with what you are saying or you're doing. But it's out of this world, so I don't know if it's gonna push through. But I'll share it to you when we finish the broadcast. Noel, thank you very much for your sharing information and your research. Any words that you'd like to share with future those who are studying, those who are planning to go into history. People saying, wala, it's a dead, or something. The opportunity is on you. Well.
Well, what a person is, right, is tied
Mm-hmm.
up to one's past is. So the only way one can know oneself is when you study your past. That's the only way you get to know who you really are, if you know where you came from, and go back and look forward, and then from there look forward. So to everyone, I think it's really like going and looking and having a curious mind and trying to look at things in a very playful, curious way, and ask questions. Ask questions which are more important than the answers. That's all.
Very
Thank
well,
you.
very
Thank
well
you for.
said. Ask questions are more important than the answers, like the why, the what if. Yeah, that's the question that I'm gonna share with you. The what if. Thank you very much, Dr. Feliz Noel Rodriguez, all the way from Zamboanga and now in KL, and looking forward to read about your researches and then participate or watch your talks. I think it will be online. The one on Friday. I think I saw the invite from the university or yeah. So because it's 7 o'clock here, so I'm still awake. Parang I will be able to. But thank you very much, Noel, and
Yes.
all the best in your endeavor. And I'll take let's take a picture, the two of us, like one, two, and